Traci, you're a pro. You've got a mega following in your podcast that you do. I listen to your podcast. I've been a guest, which is a privilege on your podcast, and we've known each other, I don't know, 5 years, 6
About
years?
about
Something
that, yeah.
like that. I'm right now sitting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Titus's headquarters, which we're a 100% remote company. So nobody has to go to any office, but we do have a training hub and a space here in Milwaukee. And that's actually where I met Traci. We have a funny story where she and I had arranged to meet here. Like, what? So remind me, you have a better memory than me. What actually happened?
So I just started my company, and I'm just, when you just start something and you're just trying to figure it out and you're so nervous. So I had scheduled a meeting with you and you just graciously said yes. And I go to come in and I think you had to push the door and I kept pulling it and I couldn't get in your office. So I rang the doorbell and you're like, Traci, it's unlocked. What's wrong? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Anyway, I just remember us starting out our first interaction just laughing really, really funny. It was great. But Traci, I have mad respect for you. There's a lot of similarity with how you're building your company as a consulting firm with a lot of things that would be very much near and dear to our heart at Titus Talent. So we've had a great synergy, partnership, alliance. But for the listeners here, just give a bit of a background on who you are and what you do, and just go for it. Give us a story.
Absolutely. So my background is 20 years in HR, really building HR departments from the ground up. And here's the best part about it that's so funny. I went into HR because I wanted it to be black and white, and I wanted to follow the lines.
Okay.
And for your listeners that know predictive index, I'm a maverick, meaning I don't follow lines, and HR is not black and white. Like, man, we like dance in the gray all day long. So long story short, built HR departments and nonprofits for 10 years and then took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and became a nursing home administrator.
What?
I know.
How did that happen?
I was doing talent development for 16 nursing homes in southern Wisconsin. They said, hey, do you want to become a nursing home administrator? Because I was kind of bored.
Okay.
I'm like, sure. No, not a good idea. However, it wasn't good for me based on who I am, yet, they do such great work. So with that being said, I then went into consulting and found out really quickly how important the culture and the environment you are in is to the work that you do. And so from there, I started my consulting practice, which is really to ensure that every individual is fulfilled in the work that they are doing. And as leaders, we have an obligation to create the container for our staff to not only be fulfilled in the work, but they have to be able to meet the business objectives. If they can't do what the job needs done, they shouldn't be in that job.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, give me a picture here of I don't know if you're not ready for this one. Worst client that you've had to work with. No, I'm kidding. And make sure you name their name. No.
No.
What's the ideal? What's an ideal kind of, hey, this would just really excite me? Maybe even mention the name of the company, like something you really would want to work with, a company you would want to work with, and what would you do there?
Well, do you want me to give you a couple that you're also working with? Because one of my favorite things about consulting is finding the partners around us that do the things we're not great at.
Yeah. Go ahead. So, I don't actually want to talk about us, so that I don't want any of this sort of braggy on us.
Don't.
But please do. I'm going to give an idea here for me and for our listeners of where does Traci just come alive? Because I know in consulting sometimes we do things we don't necessarily want to do, but we know it's the right thing to do. But which one makes you really, really come alive?
Yeah. So what makes us come alive is when we are directly working with a client that is like, give us all the things, and they're going to eat all those things up, and then they go and they do that, and they have amazing results. So let me give you a couple of examples. So we have a couple of clients. One is Darpet, and this company is an amazing, amazing organization in Chicago. They make custom doors and trim. And what I love about them is they are taking off in significant ways, and we've really built their HR department from the ground up. And what's so fun about that is that anytime we make a suggestion, they're like, all right, let's figure it out. And with that, we've seen retention increase. We've seen structure come in with their HR.
Oh, that's cool.
They're hiring, I think they've got 8 open requisitions right now. So, what we do is we set up the infrastructure, then we coach and consult on what to do with that. And then, from the recruitment end, we will hand that off and know that, hey, there's other individuals that do that really, really well. But what we do really well is determining what are the problems, then what levers do we pull to ensure that we have, the right people in place. And a lot of times we're moving folks around inside the organization because they weren't placed in the right seat to begin with.
What do you wish that companies who hire consultants, I just generally you can say it this way, what do you wish they knew? Like, what do you oh my gosh, I wish that you didn't do this. I wish you did. This is how you get the most out of you or a consulting firm.
Well, you're going to laugh, I think. So what I wish companies knew is what they wanted.
I could echo that one. I wish when companies hire us to help them hire somebody, they knew what they needed to get done. What do you need this person to actually do? And they're like, well, you have a job description, don't you? I'm like, it doesn't say any of that on there. You described a person with 7 years of this, 2 years of this, and a bunch of duties, but really you didn't describe what success looks like. Okay, so you wish that companies knew what they wanted, okay, but sometimes in fairness, they know that they're not happy, they just don't know how to get happy, right?
Right, and that's probably not even a fair ask. Like, honestly, that's not a fair ask, because that is our job as a consultant, is to help them figure out what exactly it is that they need. And so one of the things we love to ask our clients is, tell us what you think you need, and then be open to us doing some digging to figure out what it is that you really need, and open to those suggestions, right?
Yep.
So often, they'll tell us that they need a complete org restructure, and we look at it and go, I don't think it's a complete org restructure. I think it is that we need to tweak a couple programs about how your leaders come into leading, and let's do some training and let's do some coaching with that. So let's pull this lever before we pull 400 other ones, because this is going to solve a lot of the low-hanging fruit and immediate pain points. And what we want to do right away, especially right now with, turnover and the great resignation and retention and all the things, right, is let's understand what are those business outcomes you're really looking to get to, and what are the pain points that are stopping that from happening. Let's start there.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about talent optimization, like really getting the most out of your talent. I think most businesses and organizations, whether you're for-profit or not for-profit, you exist for a reason. Like, you're trying to accomplish something. Right. You're trying to make the world a better place in some way, shape, or form. Like, that's what you're trying to do.
Is this video or just audio?
It's video, but that makes it more intriguing. What are we doing? Are you just going to eat some cookies while you're there, or are you feeding the dog?
No. Okay. So I have fun jars, okay? So there's a couple things with my fun jars.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I have 4 jars, okay?
Keep going. This is good.
So when we talk about how we optimize people inside of our organization, have you seen the Saturday Night Live skit with the mini hands?
Yes, I have.
So, oh man, I have all left. All right, well, I don't know. Anyway, so here's the deal. One of the key things that we train on, and when we optimize...
How does anyone take you seriously, Tracy? This is...
What?
No, this is good. I just mean, all I can think of is the SNL skit, but anyway, keep going.
I know. Okay, we're moving on. Are you ready to move on?
No,
okay.
It's really hard to get me. I find humor in absolutely anything. Don't take me to a funeral. I'm like, I will just bust out laughing about something I shouldn't be laughing about. So, all right, I'm going to try and put my mature face on. Go.
Why? Okay, so here's the deal. Jonathan, your hand isn't every single thing that you do. Like, we're going to get serious for a minute. So when we're working with HR leaders, or when we're working with leaders inside the organization, it is, all right, what is your hand in? Your people leaving. And what is your hand in? Your people staying, right? So we give away these creepy little hands because we want them to always know that their hand is in everything that they're doing, and it is their responsibility to lead their people the way their people need to be led, not the way they want to be led.
That is cool.
So that's my creepy hands.
I get it now. I love it. I need to get me some of those.
Okay, I will send you some creepy hands. So this is jar 1 of fun.
I love it. What else you got in the little Traci bag of tricks there?
Okay, so jar 2, when we talk about talent optimization.
This is cool. I love this. I did not expect this to
cool?
go this way. This is so fun. Keep going.
I didn't expect this to be kindergarten show and tell today, but I'm happy to share.
It's cool. I need to get some more props in my life, apparently. Keep going, though.
You need 4 jars of
Okay,
props.
well,
So,
there's 2 more people. There's 2 more jars coming. If anyone's listening and they don't have video, you got to go back, find us on our website, look at the video. This is going to be good. All right.
Okay, so when we look at talent optimization, guess what? I love analogies.
Totally. I can. I love it.
So here's the deal. It's like riding in a bus, okay? So this bus is the culture of your organization, right? If you are not on the right bus, guess what? You're not going to be happy. So the story that I love to tell about this is my first consulting job was in a CPA firm. I'm a wide maverick, if you know predictive index, which essentially means I'm independently driven. I go get things done really, really fast, and I really don't pay attention to rules very well. So in a CPA organization, guess what? I had to have like 7 approvals before I could send out a proposal.
Yeah.
It was not the right culture for me to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? So when we look at this and, hey, are we on the right bus? Are we in the right organization with the culture? Then we look at it and say, hey, who's driving this bus, right? So who's the manager? So in your organization, when you say, hey, who's my manager? Who's my driver? Are they managing me the way I need to be managed and led? Are they driving the team in the direction that the organization needs to meet the organizational outcomes? And then we look at, the seat you're sitting in on the bus, which is essentially saying, hey, am I in the right job? Every job has a need, and every individual has a need. We pair those together. And then, I don't know if you remember back to 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, or even in high school when you go on sports teams, like, you want the 3 or 4 people around you in the bus seats, like, to be good. Otherwise, it's not a fun bus ride. And that's your team, right? So my bus here is my analogy for talent optimization, meaning, are we in the right organization with the right culture? Do we have the right driver? Are we in the right seat, meaning the right job? And do we have the right team around us to execute that strategy?
Hey, talent optimization right there. Get the right people on the right bus, right culture, right drivers, right teammates around you. I love it.
Do you want more jars?
You promised 2 more. You said there were 2 more, and I want to see them both.
Okay. This one.
Oh, easy button.
Okay, you can tell us about the easy button. I think you know.
No,
this
you
one
go.
as well as I do.
Come on, you're the guest.
Okay. All right. So, what makes life easy for an HR manager or for a CEO? It's having the data and being able to look at the data and match that data so that we know we can get to the outcomes that we want. And, we use a tool called Predictive Index to help us do that, to get the right people in the right role, on the right seat, with the right team around them. So this is their easy button.
Cool.
And it's in I don't know how many different languages saying.
That's cool. Wait, come on, give me so you can just turn I don't have one that's multilingual.
That was easy.
Hold on, what language?
That's an American language.
Well, that one was. Hold on.
Tutto è più
Oh,
facile.
I actually am bilingual. That's what she said that was easy.
It is. Wait, should we try another one?
Muito mais
That was
fácil.
easy. I know all of these. I know exactly what they're saying.
Right. So that's jar 3. So if you want to know what we do here at Elevated Talent Consulting, we just look at 4
I
jars
love
of
it.
fun.
Okay, next, number 4.
Okay, this is jar number 4.
Okay.
Is this? You had no idea how much fun we were
No
going to
clue.
have today.
No, I knew it'd be fun because you're fun. But keep going. All right.
Okay, so have you, Jonathan, ever felt like you're juggling a bunch of balls in the air?
Yeah.
Like a bunch of tasks, a bunch of balls. Right, we all
Yeah.
do this, right? So sometimes we feel like the balls we're juggling are like this. Sometimes they're like this. Sometimes they're like this. And by the way, if you're listening to audio only, we have stressed face, we have angry face, we have scared face, and then we have happy face, right? So here's the deal. When we're juggling balls, there's times where we're juggling balls we have no business juggling, right? Because they are not aligned with what our natural behavioral strengths are. They're also not aligned to sometimes the job that we're doing. So what we need to do is we need to look around to our team and say, hey, where is someone on this team where I could turn up their strength? I wish I had a knob. I don't have knobs.
This is jar number 5. You just need a whole bunch of knobs.
Yeah. So where I can throw you this crazy stressed out ball, you're going to pick it up and turn it into a happy ball because that's something you absolutely love to do. And what happens is you throw back an angry ball that you're juggling that you don't love, and I turn it into a happy ball because it's my strength. So.
I like it. Your visuals are great. Your visuals are great. So all of this comes together and like deals with everyone's issues. But what happens when things don't go well? No, I wish everything was this easy because, I mean, it is great. The illustrations of where things fit. Give me an example over the last, however, your career where you look back and say, man, I thought it was going to be really easy. So I did or said this, or I handled the situation this way, and I look back and go, wow, did I do poorly?
So let me give you an example, and I'm going to give you what somebody called me to.
I'm ready.
Okay,
I'm ready. I mean,
ready?
This podcast is about a lot of it really about talent, but leadership really. Like, how do we lead people well? How do we serve people well? How do we grow people well? And each of the leaders we've had on here have shared their some of the big regrets of leadership, really, and which I think is really helpful for people to learn from. So yeah, go ahead, Traci.
Yeah. So this was my first HR manager job. And I don't know about you, but like that first job, you feel like you have to prove yourself, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to prove myself. You know, this is my first HR manager job. And the executive director at the time said, hey, Traci, I need you to go implement a drug screening program inside of our organization. We're a 50-year-old company. We've never had a drug screen program. Go. Within your first 3 weeks, implement a drug screening program. So I'm checking the box. Remember, I think HR is still black and white. And I wasn't paying any attention to the needs of my managers and the needs of the folks inside the organization. So it was kind of like a steamroller was just rolling in and rolling this thing out. And I thought I did everything right. And this executive director and I now look back on this and she's like, man, I really set you up to fail because I didn't take into account what the team needed and the fact that this was your first, management assignment, and you just took off without any idea of the impact that was going to have on the people around you. So long story short, we had 9 different locations across 2 counties, and I walk into one of the locations. This is about 6 weeks into this first HR manager job, right? And it's one of those buildings where it's like a bowling alley, right? You've got this middle aisle down the middle and offices on all sides. And I walk in, and the first thing I hear is hatchet woman. What? And the receptionist at the reception desk goes, I kind of look at her, and she kind of looks at me, and and she goes, when were you here last? I'm like, what? And Phil, at the very back of the location again, says, hatchet woman. I'm like, who is hatchet woman? And she goes, and when were you here before that? And I'm like, and I look up, and I'm like, who is hatchet woman? He goes, you are. And Michelle looks at me again, and she goes, and so what are you here for today? And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I rolled out the drug screening program. I terminated someone. And now I'm here to have another conversation with someone.
Yeah,
all right, I got
it. So you basically would just like to come and bring pizzas and donuts to them if you could do it again.
No. I did it completely wrong because I didn't realize what was specifically needed for those managers. So I go and I pull the manager of this department aside and the director, and I'm like, what is happening? And they're like, Traci, we're not backing you at all. I'm like, what do you mean you're not backing me? I was told to do this by the executive director. They go, but you never got our buy-in. Like light bulbs everywhere. So in a matter of, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever that was, one, I completely lost the trust of HR as a whole, but I also never built the trust with that director and that manager. It took me 2.5 years.
Two and a half years to build the trust.
Because I lost it within the first 6
Wow,
weeks.
that's a lot right there. I mean,
Right.
you look at this, the Great Resignation and Great Reshuffle, or whatever you want to call it, all the different, somebody has to come up with a new name and coin it themselves. But well, it's not the resignation; it's the reshuffle. It's not the reshuffle; it's the rebound. It's the I like to call it this, But whatever it is, as people make the mass movement and shuffle themselves and find new roles, what you just said there, 2.5 years, what could have taken you in an X, so you do it wrong right out the gate, and I think that is the piece that, as I've been recently just studying a lot about different personality profiles and typings, and obviously there are loads of different 600 plus assessments out there, but just understanding people's wirings, and I was thinking about it the other day as I getting ready to go on a speaking tour, and I'm thinking, wow, I actually have to think about all the different behavior and personality typings as I'm speaking, because I'm speaking to people who hear it a different way. They hear the same information, but they interpret it in different ways. They interpret it and process that information in different ways. And I'm thinking, golly, this is hard. But to really understand your audience and understand the people you're dealing with, or understand the people you're leading and managing, I mean, that's something that I know that you're a master of. But tell me, on the flip side, who's a leader that you really look up to? Leader, manager, somebody you've seen do it really, really well.
Yeah, so there's a couple, right? So someone that I've seen do it really well is the same executive director, and she is now overseeing a number of different programs, charter schools, etc. And, what she did really well is she always owned her mistakes. Always, always, always 100% owned her mistakes, but also created the space for everyone to learn from each other. And that was one of those things where, hey, you know what? We don't quite know what we're doing here, but we're going to learn it. We're going to learn it together, but we are always going to be transparent with what we are learning. So, hey, let's roll out a drug screen program. It's like, okay, that was a mistake. I set you up to fail. Yet at the same time, what do we all learn from it, and how do we all move this forward? And I mean, as a leadership team, we all came together and had the conversation about what that was. So it wasn't like, hey, that's just so-and-so's mistake, but how do we all own it? And I think that's something that's really important, is the transparency. The vision is a huge part of it, is what is that vision and where are we going? And at what point in time do we draw a line in the sand to say, you're either on the bus or you're not? And if you're not on it, guess what? We're going to work with you to create you into a happy alumni. But you no longer have a place here.
We're going to make you a happy alumni, but you need to be an alumni right now.
Right. And you know what, though? There's nothing wrong with that, because if you don't do that, what happens is it drains your current staff.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think, you hear it all the time, and that's the fastest way to get rid of your A players is keep around C players. Or,
yeah,
there you go.
For sure.
Don't do it. You want to lose your champions, or the ones who could help you get to the next level as an organization. Keep those who either don't know their role, they're not in the right seat, they don't know what their expectations are, or they're just completely misaligned character-wise or value-wise, etc. So big deals, really big deals. So that's great. Now, when was the last time you told that executive director that they're the most amazing leader in your life?
So let's see. Last time I talked to her was in June, and so we had lunch, and I gave her a little card.
I
and
love
we had that. Conversation.
Here's another. I know this is true of you. That's why I'm asking you this. Like, you are not just easy with compliments, but you actually do recognize people's place and the impact they've had on you. And I've seen you do it with other people. You're such a complimentary person, and it's definitely you see people come alive. And they're like, oh, really? And they start doing and behaving in that way more and more. And so it's great. What are you looking forward to in your company in the days ahead? What's something you're looking forward to?
Oh man, so we have I'm so thrilled with our team and what we're doing. And so we have our Hire program is launching, which is a 6-month program for small businesses. If they've never set up how to really bring individuals in, create the employee value proposition all the way through how to create a pre-boarding program, an onboarding program. Okay, do you want to laugh again?
Oh, I'm ready for a laugh. I'm always ready to laugh. Go for it.
All right. When you and your wife got engaged, did you talk to her between that engagement and
No,
when
it's just
you
a contract.
got married?
I said, will you marry me? She signed, and I said, all right, I'll meet you on the wedding day.
Yeah, I know, right? How often do we do that with our employees? Like, there's no courting. Let's make courting fun, okay?
I'm that wild maverick. So I told my wife I liked her, or I loved her, and 2 weeks, between nearly 3 weeks later, I proposed, and 4 months later I was married, and I've been married nearly 20 years. So
oh my
that was
goodness,
fast, right? That was a maverick right there.
I didn't know that about you, Jonathan. Well, get this. So we met 4th of July weekend. We were engaged the first Tuesday in October, and we were married September 27th of the next year. So it was about,
it's fast.
14 months. We're not as quick as you, but
so okay, yes, between the dating time and the marriage time, yes, there's communication. Go for your point. Keep going.
Companies don't court their new hires. Court your new hires. Tell them that you like them, that you love them, that you're so excited for them, and welcome them to the team. That's all I'm saying.
It's huge. We're pretty big on like branding our people as well. Not like Yellowstone, like branding them, but branding them in the sense of like, okay, we want them to feel a part of the tribe. We want them to feel a part of the team. And so, hey, here's some swag. Here's some T-shirts. Here's some mugs. And we actually capture what's happened in the last 6 months that's significant. Because you're arriving into something that's going at a pace. Here's what's gone on in the last 6 months, which a lot of the people are still talking about. They enjoyed. We had a company conference, or we went here, or we're doing this. And we capture all of that in video and in any kind of form we possibly can and say, here's your team, and here's what we've just gone through together. And here's what we experienced, and just catch you up with it. So that's a great point, though. Love it.
That's amazing. I've not seen that before,
I'll show you that. You can add it. It's actually in the book that we have coming out on October 4th, Right Seats, Right People. And it's a leader's guide to getting the right people in the right seats and getting them on board. And it's all stuff that you love and believe in right along the same path.
Do you have a bus on the front?
Yeah. I wish there was a bus on the front. Hey, so how do people get hold of you?
So LinkedIn, it's Traci Scherck, or our website is elevatedtalentconsulting.com.
Brilliant. Well, Traci, thanks for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Until next time I see you face to face, it'll be look forward to that. But until next time we have you on the podcast here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan.